Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. And Joyce, I'm thrilled with the 2024 Emmys.
That was the best ending to an award show since when?
I couldn't even tell you. I think some people would say Parasite, but like we were saying before, we both thought maybe You predicted it. I don't wasn't here then, but I think I predicted it too, probably at that time. Uh, Great movie, but I don't know. What was the last time you were this surprised by something on an award show?
Surprised by something? I mean, I don't know. Like maybe like Adrian Brody. I think is, but I think the difference is that like I wanted Hacks to win, right? I think it's different when it's like it's a huge surprise and it's also something you wanted to win. Because that doesn't often happen. It's not like I didn't want Adrian Brody to win back then, but it was like I enjoyed that performance, but it's like I don't love it as much as I love Hack season three.
We try not to we try to separate our heart from our heads, right? But like, man, we loved Hack season three, best show of the year by far,
The greatest.
and it somehow won best comedy series of the Emmys in what has to be one of the most outrageous upsets in recent times in the Emmys.
Uh yeah, especially with how the night started for Hacks and Hannah Einbinder losing supporting actress to Liza Colón-Zayas.
So when Liza Colón-Zayas won Best Supporting Actress in Comedy Series over Hannah Einbinder, who is widely predicted to win, and who we have been over predicting probably because we were
Had her
so in
best
the tank.
season.
Best season, best episode. I've watched the finale like 6 times, and her
I
scene
watched season three times in one weekend.
and Jean's and Jean her scene with Jean at the finale is truly a masterclass. So good, and Jean would not be as good in that scene if it wasn't for Hannah, who is so good. Uh, doesn't win. Liza Colón-Zayas wins for her memorable role in season 3 of The Bear, except for season 2 of The Bear.
Yeah.
So
Uh, and I mean we talked about a little about this a little bit on the live show that we just
yes,
did, as we hit midnight now on Monday morning on the East Coast. But I think Hannah losing is like a combination of Liza having napkins from season 3 of The Bear, which is obviously not eligible till next year, but a showcase episode for her, obviously. And um Ava Daniels not being a a type of character, especially a female character and a younger female character that a lot of people, voters, and older voters might vibe with. Maybe it's like an actual like Ava Deborah generational gap type of thing too. And then just Hannah's profile too. Like this is her first acting gig. Obviously, she still does stand up, but she was really just starting out her career doing stand up when she got this job on Hacks. I don't think they resent her for being a nepo baby, but she is one, and like I think they also kind of really like and admire and respect veteran actors like Liza, and then even people like Nestor Carbonell who won last week for Shōgun. These people like who've been around and a lot of people have worked with, a lot of people have not worked with Hannah Einbinder yet, you
I mean, I
know.
think that's like definitely part of it, right? Like Liza Colón-Zayas has worked with a lot of people, has
Yeah.
been an actor for a long time. Hannah Minder's only on Hacks, really,
Yeah, and then she finally had her Max special this year.
which is great.
Yeah, so it sucks that she didn't win for her best season. Um and especially that Hacks ended up winning comedy series. Like I would have preferred for her to lose and Hacks also losing series, Like that would have been better.
I-
But for
It,
her to be left out of this season, it sucks.
it's kind of crazy. So when Liza Colón-Zayas won, we all were like LOL because we had talked about this as like Hannah maybe was gonna lose, even though we went down with that ship. And like that without another bear person there, maybe Liza Colón-Zayas could actually pull it off, plus her episode from the third season. was memorable, if not as good as Forks. So it's like that all together, and they love the bear. So when she won, I was like, holy shit, the bear might just sweep everything. Like I was like, what if Io Debris beats Jean? And
I
like
was
it's
never worried about Jean because Jean is just like
a host unto herself, basically.
yeah, like I mentioned this a couple weeks ago now, but there was someone who is associated with like the bear and that circle, and they were like, obviously it would be great if Io won, but like I love Jean and I want her to win. It's like I think that's just the thing with Jean.
And that was the response in the crowd, a
Yeah, like
legitimate
she
standing
is that
ovation.
bitch. Standing O
Yeah.
immediately.
And
I just love that standing O because that came after she that award came after Elizabeth Debicki's, and like no one gave a shit about that. Like no, like I love Elizabeth Debicki, that was a very deserved win, but like no one in that audience cared. They clapped
just polite
like
claps.
yeah, and then they just stopped. They stopped clapping while she was still walking up to that stage,
It
and
was
then
like wrap,
immediately
let's
after
wrap it
that,
up.
standing O for Jean Smart. So
Then Gene won, and it's like, okay, back on track. And then, like the Bear won directing, which we expected, and Hacks won comedy writing, which we were also expected because of the way that was where the Bear being a comedy, even though it's a drama, would manifest, right? Like that pushback would come there. And so when Catherine O'Hara's up there bumbling with her fucking envelope and doing bits at 11 o'clock at night, where I'm like, just wrap this up, say the Bear so we can go record these shows and I can try to go to bed before like 2 a.m. No, she just says hacks. I truly cannot believe it won. We talked about the backlash of season 3, and even during the show, I was like, man, that was overblown because they really do like the bear. Like all the wins were very well received, I thought. You know what I mean? Like in the room. No one was like it wasn't like a muted response, I felt.
I
Uh
would say compared to the ceremony that we just had in January, it it was a little more undercooked than like the applause it got in
right.
January for its wins then.
I just was like, I can't. All the stuff we talked about, I was like, oh, maybe it wasn't real. Now I'm like, oh wait, it was. They really don't want it to win because it was not a comedy. It won the most Emmys ever for a comedy series. It won all these technical awards.
It
It
broke
won the
its own record for most wins for a comedy. It set that record in January and broke it again, but without
in
comedy series this
nine
time.
months later. Uh, it makes me think. You talked about this that there. It's like season. It would be vulnerable next year's Emmys to lose, particularly Jeremy would be vulnerable. And now I'm like, I actually think that's true. And I think he might not win. I don't know who's gonna win. I love An Only Murder so far this year. I think it's so good. And I did you get watch the last two they sent? They sent two more, so we're up to 9. It's great.
No, I haven't done that yet.
Oh well, Joyce, you're in for a treat because they sent two more. They still haven't sent the finale. But I'm loving that season. I'm like, man, you know what? One of these other people I think could win. I think one of them could beat Jeremy for season 3. Jeremy, uh, and maybe even Eben would be vulnerable too. Even though I still think he remains like innocent in any bear critique for season 3.
He, I mean, I think he also like doesn't do much in season 3. I think it also depends on like what happens in season 4 whenever we get it next year, because we know they've shot stuff for season 4 and they're supposed to resume shooting it early next year as usual. So yeah, because like we know like Eben won for Forks twice.
Just like Brett Goldstein
This
won
time
for
officially. Yeah, just like
Rainbow's
Brett
Right.
Goldstein won for Rainbow twice. Um so yeah, but I think the fact that it actually lost the comedy series this year instead of next year is very telling, because I've been saying since season 3 of The Bear dropped that like I expect the downturn to happen slowly starting with the Winter Awards,
Right.
but it will probably still win the comedy series this year for season 2.
It, I was thinking this. Now all those winter awards are given free reign to actually not pick the bear. Like I felt like Critics' Choice Awards would have never gone against the bear, right? And now I
Oh
think
no,
they
no.
will.
Now they can do hack, they could do like whatever they want,
Now they're
really.
going to do whatever they want. But if it had won the Emmys, they would just kind of like lockstep in. So
Yeah.
would the
I mean,
Golden
I think
Globes.
like the Globes would have still gone. I mean, they've already given it to Hacks. They gave it to Hacks over Ted Lasso. So
So maybe the Globes are different, but the Critics' Choice Awards absolutely gone bear and like
yeah.
lockstep bear in multiple places. And now I'm like, oh, they're actually not going to do that at all, and it could get like blanked because it's the third season, and then the backlash to the third season will end up being like, more intense. And then you go into the Emmys next year. Maybe there's like, I mean, I still think it's got to be like a top 2 or 3 show. But I think if you were like hoping for an Only Murders win somewhere, like next year is a potential place for that to happen.
It probably won't get 23 nominations next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, the funny thing is, it could add, like we talked about this a lot, that it underperformed in acting, like
yeah,
it did. And it could actually add in acting, I think, this year. Like it could get Abby Elliott in and maybe somebody else. You know what I mean? Maybe like, I don't know. Who knows? It could add, I guess.
but it doesn't have to add to 23. That's the
No,
thing.
that's true.
Like like I don't think it's gonna get 23. But yeah, it's like because last week, so it won 5 acting wins because it won 3 tonight and then the 2 from guest last weekend. It won casting and it won directing and lost series.
How is that possible? How does that
And
happen?
then Hacks won no creative arts Emmys
None.
last week. Not surprising. It
No.
also didn't win any creative arts for season 1.
It could have
Um,
won
the
costumes.
only thing, yeah, the only thing it could have won was one of the guest categories or costumes, which it has won before. Uh,
Right.
but
But it lost, you said, because the crown was contemporary, right? Is that
yeah,
what that
because
was?
it's within 25 years of
Right.
season 6. So, and Hacks won series, actress, and writing.
That's crazy. And that is a crazy win. And that is really, I was like literally like this on the couch. I could not believe it won. My texts were blowing up.
Yeah. And I mean, also like last week, the Bear it got other creative arts Emmys because they won 7 total last week. So it has the other, below the line branches picking it. And but it's like, those aren't really surprising because it's more of a craft and like techie show than Hacks is. Uh, but I think sometimes like if you're, I don't know, like if you're like a sound mixer and you're voting for your sound mixing categories, it's like, oh man, the Bear did have great sound mixing, like the crosstalk and everything, voting for that to win. But then when you get to the program categories, that doesn't necessarily mean just because you voted for the Bear in the branch category, you still think of it as the best comedy series. It's
I,
like Hacks is I prefer Hacks. That's actually funny. I laugh. It's a real comedy. I'm voting
I,
for that.
I actually think that is what it was, because I think if you go down like in the individual spots, the Bear is like the top, right? Because like it is really well made. Like all the craftings are crazy, and Hacks is just not a regular TV show. The
It's
Bear
just
is
like
like,
it's like Succession. Succession
yeah,
was never successful like creative arts either.
but Succession was more arty than like Hacks to me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Succession
but it's
was
still
arty,
like its creative arts wins were casting,
right?
um, Cherry Jones for guest
Right.
and theme, and then one editing for season 2. Like that's it. Like it's not gonna win like sound mixing. Like it didn't win costumes or any of like production design.
Yeah, but it should win those. It
It
should have
should,
won.
but it didn't. And again, it just like with Hacks, it's not surprising with these contemporary shows that are just not really like auteur made,
Yeah.
like it with that has an emphasis on just like the craftsmanship of it, even though these shows are well made, but they're not showy like the Bear
The Bear
is.
is like a real filmy. It's like a real like
Yeah.
really auteur show. And then so yeah, I love that. I love that Hacks really won because it's a comedy. That's really why it won.
It's a comedy, and yeah, like I think all the discourse of like it's not the Bear's not a real comedy, it finally caught up to them.
Because like also like Hack season 3 is the best, like fully the best thing I watched all year. I don't think it's much. I still think the Bear season 2 is great. And so I was like, if even though I think Hacks is better, it's like very close. But the Hack season 3 versus the Bear season 3 is like, it's like much different. But it just made me laugh. I was like, wow, it really is just because one's not a comedy. And now I said this to you as a goof, but do you think there's a chance they run it in drama next year? They
No,
do
because I
that.
don't think like that would be even like worse.
Do you think that would be worse? Do you think they hightail it out of here?
No, like it'll just stay in comedy. It would also be embarrassing because like they've spent 3 years defending why it's a comedy. Everyone, whether or not they personally believe it, like the party line, their talking point is like, oh yeah, it is a comedy because we all have different definitions of like what's
Sure.
funny and everything. Like
I,
that's they get asked every
I,
fucking event
I
about
gotta
whether or
say,
not the bear is a comedy.
I don't think that would be one reason or not. I think they have nobody has any face. So I think they would immediately just be like, whatever I said before was bullshit. It's like my cousin Vinny. Everything that guy said is bullshit. They're just gonna be like, fuck that. Whatever that
No,
person
because
said.
it's not the same as like when Shameless did it. Because Shameless did not have any success as a
Right.
drama, so then they're just like, let's just roll the dice because we're a dark comedy,
I'll say this.
go comedy, and they were accepted.
FX next year, looking at ahead at our year ahead Emmys, just in my research, and I didn't do, I had a tough time doing this. We're gonna do this tomorrow or today because it's after midnight. Later, we're gonna do our early Emmy picks, and I was like, where FX? I don't think I have FX as having a drama series, and I'm like, what if they just shift here there? Because they could, like, they had Shōgun this year, they were never gonna do it,
No, but it's
and it could
like,
win in drama this year coming up.
but I think, but like, you think that, but I think it'll make people resent them even more
You think so?
because
Okay.
because then it's like you're just thirsty chasing awards now.
Okay. I don't think you're wrong. I just say I think it's not zero that this moves, I would say.
No, it's not gonna move.
It's not gonna move, but it's not zero that it's not gonna move. It's like it's a chance. I could see it happening.
It's not gonna move. This is like when you were like Ripley's gonna be the one that moves to drama.
Well, Ripley, I think they'll do another season of, and I think that'll be hilarious. But yeah, I could see it moving. I don't think it will, but I could see it. I could see them doing it. I thought it would be really funny though, if they just hightail it out of comedy.
No, because like it's here's the thing. Like we're too focused on awards. Like LOL, of
No.
course we are,
Us?
but it's like that's not like what like all this is or like what they're like making the show is for, not to like be
Okay.
like Pollyanna-ish, but like that's
It's for the
like
art.
yeah, like they're just making a show. And I think
Okay.
like the thing is it's you know the so much of the discussion about the show is like about like the genre it should or should not be in is like it's not a comedy, but it's just a damn good show, right? Like people do like the show, they just don't think it's a comedy. And they like FX has strategically put it in comedy and they've had success until now. And I do believe that had season 3 been better, because I think it's the weakest season of the 3,
I agree.
and better received, that it probably would have won tonight and we would not be having this discussion. Because like I've mentioned this before, like when you like something, like people like the first 2 seasons of The Bear, you are more tolerable of its issues, and the show's issue being that it might not really be a comedy. But then when you have a subpar season like season 3, the issues become more glaring. They become more of a talking point, a sticking point, which is what we saw this summer when like everyone came out full force dragging it. We haven't even mentioned Lorraine Newman's tweets tonight.
The God, Lorraine
Should I
Newman.
read them right now?
Yes, please.
Lorraine Newman,
So Hannah
anyone who
Einbinder
doesn't
lost.
know, Hannah Einbinder's mom,
So Hannah
SNL.
Einbinder lost her Emmy, I think, at 8:27.
So Lorraine Newman, she tweeted, every time I think about the bear being in the comedy category for the Emmys, I can feel an ulcer developing. And then she deleted her fuck the bear tweet, but she did tweet that. She
That
deleted
was
that one.
it. That was at 8:27.
Yeah, she deleted fuck the bear. And
That was
then
right after Hannah lost.
yeah. So that's gone. But then at 10:37 Eastern, so this is before the comedy series win. She tweeted, I think The Bear is a great show, but IMHO, in my honest opinion, it's not a comedy, not even a dark comedy. She has not tweeted since Hacks won comedy series.
She's too busy celebrating with Hannah. Hannah was
Hannah should
probably
be a
like, "What the hell,
producer.
mom?"
She could get an Emmy.
In the replies on that one, somebody, whoever wrote, I can't see who wrote whatever. This site sucks. Twitter is bad, and you can't read it. But it's whoever wrote something, and she replied to them and said, "I know, I took it down. Not my best moment." In reference, I guess, to the "fuck the bear" in all caps, exclamation points out the ass. Fantastic moment. Lorraine Newman, absolute goat. She's been on this for months though. She's been trashing this show.
Yeah. No, and then I mean, remember when she was voting in phase one? She was, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, but she's not the only one, basically the
Obviously.
whole Abbott Elementary writers room. Did you see Quinta Brunson's face when Hacks won? She was so happy.
There was a palpable excitement in the room when she won, when the Hacks won. Excuse me. I said this before. I think that you saw it at the beginning of the show when Eugene. We'll talk about the show later. And Hacks was the whole show because like this is a fine Emmys and like all the winners were really expected except for a couple of spots. And then this was just like holy shit, I cannot believe that Hacks won. It's like one of the greatest award show moments I've seen in decades, frankly. I just loved it so much. But at the beginning of the show, Eugene Levy in their monologue with Dan Levy, both of whom I thought were really fun. Eugene said, "Now I love the show. I love the show. And I know some of you will be expecting us to make a show about whether the bear is really a comedy. But in the true spirit of the bear, we will not be making any jokes." And that got a big laugh. And I was like, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and I do think like they got kind of tepid applause for their wins,
I
you
thought
know?
so. I thought Liza got a good response,
Yeah,
and that was like
I
a
think
shock.
like that, yeah, because I think that was a surprise. So like obviously, like nothing against Liza, like, great actress. And I think that was kind of a surprise. So it was like, oh, like great win for her. Um, but yeah, like the Jeremy and Evan wins,
I,
even like Chris Store's directing win.
Chris Torres was like all of them were expected. I don't know. I thought the response was okay with Evan and
Listen, they were
Jeremy.
not as dead as the clapping for Elizabeth Debicki.
What could be? But
Nothing.
I was like, I with Jeremy and Evan, I was like watching them win. And the fact that they just like rushed them through in the beginning of the show, I know that's kind of like just how they did, that's how they formatted or whatever, like segmented it out. But I was like, man, they cannot wait to not have these guys win. I think it's like I think they're both vulnerable for this year to lose.
You mean rush them out like the audience response in the room? Or
No,
just
just the show. Just they got those
oh, but
categories. They,
but the
like,
producers don't know the winners, like
yeah,
the
right. They don't know
order
the
of
winners.
presentation.
I mean, they didn't know Hacks was going to win, but they don't know the winners. Like everybody knew Jeremy Allen
Well,
was
no,
going to
like I
win.
think like they expected them to win.
That's why they put them at the front. You know what I mean? Like it's like in terms of like what was winning, I'm sure if you're a producer, you're like, okay, here's who's favorited to win. We don't know who's gonna
Yeah,
win.
like because when you're a good producer of an award show, you like you'll Google and like, keep up the odds and see like who's the fave,
And so
right?
like you knew you were gonna get those emotional Hiroyuki Sanada, Anna Sawai speeches at the end, which are really great. So you're gonna like, let's put drama towards the end, the acting categories. We'll do Richard and Jessica in the middle, and we'll throw the comedy shit in the front because like who cares? Because
I
they're
mean, let's be real. When they were segmenting the Emmys for years by genre, they always did comedy first
that's
because
true.
comedy gets no respect, and then drama was always last. So like that's nothing new. They just kind of added more like stuff in the beginning. Like they did like some drama categories earlier too, and some limited. But yeah, they saved the limited and drama leads last.
I,
But did the comedy leads earlier in the show. Let me ask you this, because
yes,
we've discussed, because I do think this was the window for Hannah to win, because next
yes.
year is probably like Maya Rudolph for SNL. Um, so I don't know, like if because like um Lucia Agnello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky have said like they have a 5-season plan for the show. So we only have 2 seasons left. They're starting production on season 4 in 5 days. So we'll be back next year. I don't know if she'll win next year. I mean, like, who knows about season 5? But I can see her, after her losing for this, I can see her never winning for the show just because of all the factors we've discussed.
I
No.
I can see that too.
Yeah.
I can also see her winning next year because I think unless Maya was like a name, like no care, well, let's have Maya Rudolph win. Like, no, I love Maya Rudolph. She was hilarious on the show tonight. I thought that was like a really funny bit. That was the funniest I've ever seen Bo and Yang. I was like, Bo and Yang should just do, they should build a time machine and put Bowen Yang on SNL with Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig because I think he'd be so funny.
I don't know why, but I actually LOL'd when he called Lorne Michaels Lauren.
The funniest thing. It
I
was
don't know.
so good.
I was like, this is such a dumb joke, but
It was
I
so funny.
guffawed.
And he was so natural with them. I was like, wow, he really does belong with the real classic SNL people because he was so funny. Um, she could easily win, right? Like, no disrespect to Maya for like what we already know what her Kamala Harris is. Like, it's not any like it's gonna be just like a total exactly what you're expecting. So she could obviously win next year. But I mean, Hannah could really win because you'll have Liza will get nominated again. And
Liza could just be like Evan and Brett and just win for napkins again.
she could, but it wasn't that strong of an episode. And I think she'll have Abby there too. If I actually think Abby will add in, even if the bear is on the downside. Like she was great in season 3, and she has like a major episode. So I feel like she'll actually get in this time. So you have the two of them in. That probably hurts Liza. You have Maya, and I'm like, then maybe Hannah wins, right? Like if Hannah just has to, if a bear vote split happens, then you have Maya versus Hannah.
I
Who
know,
knows
but
what's
I'm
gonna
just thinking
happen?
like the fact that like what we just talked about, like why she might have lost this year, I think those factors might still be in play, especially I don't know, like just like how they view her as an actress and
So
and just like and also like Ava the character
So I
too.
I kind of thought this too, but I was like, I'll be Mr. Positive here because I'm always so positive. But I was like, oh, uh
They'll feel bad that she didn't win this year, then they'll
not that'll maybe be a little of it, but I don't think that'll be a lot. But I actually think like my sense and when I talk to people and like not like normies who like I've talked to about hacks are like she sucks. Like that was before
yeah, like
season
people think
3.
she's not acting. That's always been a knock on her.
And I think season 3 she's great. And I think even if you don't like her, you'd watch season 3 and be like, "Oh man, she's really good." Like the show literally does not work. I don't think if she's not fantastic. So maybe this was like a you did a good job. Now season 4, if she comes back and is great again, it's like, "Oh, you proved it," kind of thing. Like, is that possible? Like, "Oh, we didn't think you were a good
I don't
actor.
know.
Now you're a good actor."
I mean, I hope she wins before the show is over.
Do you think
Um,
there's a world where she ends up going? Is there a world
lead.
at some point with the way the show is the direction of the show, as they get to the last 2 seasons, where they flip the two of them? Does it more focus on Ava, and would she ever go into lead? And then does
No,
Jean?
I don't think they would ever do that. I mean, they're co-leads. She should be in lead, but it's fine. She's in supporting, whatever. Like, I don't think they'll ever
Like
have
she
them.
never would beat
And
Jean.
then like if she's not going to beat Jean if they're
No,
up against each other. We know that. So, but anyway, part two, PWD next year
a real chance to win.
to win.
I think to win. I think he's win competitive because I think Eben is like
It'll be like old news, and then we're just like over the bear.
over the bear. We already gave him 2 Emmys for one show, one episode, and no one else really could come close. And Paul is on ascent. I mean, he was so great in season 3. I think he was probably runner up based on how the night ended up. So
I
yeah, I think
love
he
I
win.
love in his speech when he was basically just like parodying Jimmy's spiel about how old people is also diverse.
That was so funny. He's really funny as just hilarious. A hilarious man. I'm so glad I got to interview him. Next year, Joyce, we should do the hacks together and you should
The
interview.
best.
We should interview him together.
I love JPL. I'm so glad they won.
I love talking to him. I love their speeches. I was just thrilled. I'm like literally giddy that hacks won. It was like really
Can we
I
have like a hack sweep this winter? We've sat through the bear sweeps.
well, it's SAG. Let's talk into this. SAG, probably the Bear still wins ensemble based on how actors responded to the show.
I can see like Eben falling out of SAG in their single category.
But
Like
I
and
think
like
it'll.
and like Marty and Steven getting back in.
I still think Bear wins ensemble,
Um, yeah, because they can be really boring. It's like when Maisel still beat Fleabag.
and they like the act. The actors are what it
Yeah.
liked. It won 5 acting awards.
It's it's just like I don't think it's I mean like with the Emmys, like those were like Fishes was just really baity for those people in particular, you know. Um, but we don't really have anything like that. for like the whole cast in season 3. Like you just have like napkins and ice chips, which were showcase episodes for
Yeah.
3 people
I think
basically. So
Critics' Choice Awards, I think they'll go
Hacks.
Hacks,
Hannah
Gene,
Einbinder is winning Critics'
and
Choice.
Hannah Einbinder for sure. Uh, and then yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think like I mean the fact that the bear has the thing that's like fun is that usually like it's like leader in the clubhouse, right? Like you hang up like a good final round in golf and you're leader in the clubhouse or whatever. And so Hacks is like the bear is now leader in the clubhouse with a bad final round for next year. So we don't know what Hacks is going to do for season 4 when we get like I'm just like Hacks is like they already beat it now for season 2, which was a good season for the bear. I don't know. Hacks could expand a lot next year, I guess, too, at the Emmys, assuming season 4 is good. Which why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, like I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we'll get like 23 nominations. I think it's still it can't really reach the ceiling of that, maybe unless maybe it adds like a bunch of guest actors and acting. Like it has some issues with some the acting categories. It could have gotten a lot more acting nominations this year too.
I mean, right now you could
Yeah.
say next year it could win, assuming season 4 is as good as season 3, which is a high bar because season 3 was so good. But we know the Bear season 3 is not as good. It could win series, Gene, Paul W. Downs, writing again, probably directing. It could add.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming they'll submit IO for napkins next year for
Yes,
directing, and then I don't know,
probably the
a
finale.
Chris episode, I guess. I
Chris.
don't know. I don't remember any of the episodes of season 3 of The Bear. I'm sorry. It's
I mean,
just
the
like,
finale is the big one with like the restaurant closing and stuff.
sure.
Regardless, I'm like he could win again, certainly, but I'm like you could see acts adding and definitely guess depending on what they do. I don't know. I'm like it's a fun time to be a fan of Hacks, Joyce.
It's the best time to be a fan of Hacks.
Uh, let's move on to drama, which were less exciting, but still some
Um,
surprises.
the best drama win was Slow Horses for writing.
So you had Slow Horses from the beginning. I switched to it after I dropped Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then we both picked Shogun in our final picks.
Oh yeah, so I don't even care that I went off of it, but like today I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do all Shogun in all 6 and hope it doesn't win all 6. Because I also thought about going back to Billy today. So I was like, I'll just take the L's if it's not all 6.
I so that was why I switched. So I switched to we both switched to Tatenobu Asano last week, and then I switched to Slow
Yeah, because
Horses.
I had Slow Horses and Billy this whole
Same,
time.
same, and then I switched off of them and lost both. I just was like, it felt like even though I remained steadfast that it did not get as many nominations as it should
It
have,
underperformed.
it still felt like it was the one show that was going to just dominate after creative art. So I was like, I think they're just going to reward it all over the place. And as it turns out, they didn't do that because like Billy Crudup won, proving that the morning show acting style is bigger than the Shogun acting style or more.
Which I've been saying this whole time.
And it lost in writing, which again, branch voting,
Writer's
2
taste.
Shogun episodes, Slow Horses is the writing show. Makes sense. I think if Shogun had 1 episode, it would have won.
I'm not sure if it would have won. Um, because I think Negotiating with Tigers is just a better script overall than Crimson Sky. Sorry, not sorry. And I think it's similar. It's how I felt about The Bear and Hacks. Like Fishes, like Crimson Sky, they're very well acted and very well directed episodes. And Bulletproof and Negotiating with Tigers are just better written episodes. So, so I don't think it matters that there were double episodes for Shogun because you can overcome one other nominee.
I
So
think the problem is the fact that to me it's like you could overcome another nominee, but I think the fact that it's like it was the pilot versus like the 9th episode which is obviously the best episode. Most stuff happens in Crimson Sky. I still think people like default to the pilot. I don't know. I think if it was flipped, if like the pilot was the good episode and Crimson Sky was the Anjin episode, then I think the pilot of Shogun would have still won. I really do believe that. I think it was just like the pilot is not good,
The
and so
pilot is not good, and
and it really
every
should have
every every
won.
person in real life I've talked to who has watched the show
Can't make it.
agrees that the pilot is bad.
You can't even make it through. You really have to put an effort into making it through the pilot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think if the pilot was any good, it would have won. Basically, that's my takeaway because they really
No,
did
I
like
think
Shogun.
Slow Horses still would have done. I think the pilot would have probably won if it were the whole Academy voting.
That's maybe true too.
So, but I mean
And
the
then
writers just coming through. I mean, we've had some great like this category since the last Game of Thrones win, which was bad. We had The Handmaid's Tale for the pilot, The Americans for start, Succession, Succession, The Crown, Succession, Succession, and now Slow Horses. Just they're just on a roll. Writers are the best.
next year, I'm going to manifest that industry win, Joyce, for season 3.
It'll be Slow Horses
And
again.
industry.
It'll
Can't
be
wait.
Slow Horses next year.
Can't wait.
Just they love Veep alums, Will Smith and Jesse Armstrong. So
It's true. Uh, everything else in the drama series, not a single surprise. But I have to say, I love the speeches. I loved Anna Sawai's speech. I loved Hiroyuki Sanada's speech. And I loved Takehiro Hira in the crowd, like crying watching Hiroyuki Sanada speak. I was just like, this is great. I thought this was like really good TV. I was like way in on this. Really good emotional moments. Loved it.
yeah, they're a very emotional bunch. I mean, I knew Anna Sawai was gonna cry like the second she got to the red carpet because she was crying like when she gave her TCA speech in July.
My
Like,
favorite my favorite part of her speech is when she says, I'm so honored to be with all these nominees. I watched your shows growing up, and they can only cut to Carrie Coon because I had imagined that Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston turned to actual dust when she said that. I was like, holy shit.
you know, we are well, I guess now it's um 6 days away from the 30th anniversary of Friends. So
I mean, just there's no way that Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon were thrilled to hear that Anna Sawai just grew up watching them. It's like, holy shit. Oh man, that made me laugh. And Carrie Coon, they had a cut to, and she was like, well, what are you gonna do?
listen, Anna is just 2 years older than Friends. So
Sure. Anyway, it was a great win. I was so glad she won. She's the heart
yeah.
and soul of the show, Joyce.
Yeah, she was the safest of its acting wins. And then I think some people, maybe some Shōgun stans, are maybe worried about her and Hiro because Shōgun didn't win anything until the second half of the evening because it didn't win anything until directing, and that was later
Yeah.
on in the show because it lost supporting actor to Billy. Tadanobu lost to Billy. I don't think it was a vote split between Tadanobu and Takehiro because I think Tadanobu was like the clear fan favorite, but I think it's just they love that scenery chewing complimentary like style of acting that the morning show does. And I mean, Billy is like he was born to play Corey Ellison, and the way
Really one
that
of the great.
character
He's
is
one of the great
written.
performances.
Yeah.
Great.
And yeah, he also made history because he's the under this voting system, he's the first former winner to win again after a loss. So, because he lost 2 years ago to Matthew McFadden.
Do we think it's back for next year's Emmys?
They're shooting right
Do you think
now.
it could be on next? Do you think it can
I
make it
don't
back?
know like what Apple will do.
I don't. I don't
So
have it making it because I don't have it
I don't
coming out.
I feel like they'll probably
Hold it.
hold it until because it's usually a fall show because
They can hold it to next fall,
yeah,
basically.
because the first season was November when the streaming service launched. And then the last two have been in September. So I feel like it might just be September
Okay.
again.
Great performance. I love seeing him. I thought his speech was nice too. Shout out Naomi Watts.
He's such a
Uh,
stan. Kind of sucks that she also didn't win for Few, so they could be an Emmy winning couple. But
Anything else on drama before we go to limited?
when will Shōgun be back?
Somebody corrected us the other day when we were like, it's never coming back, but they actually renewed it for 2 and 3, Joyce.
Well, yeah, we know that. That's not
We
a
didn't say that though. We were just saying like it's coming back with season 2 or
well, you
something.
need to come back for season 2 before you come back for season 3.
I would say if it's gonna come
Also, it
back,
wasn't, it's not, I mean, remember that wording in that press release? It was weird.
if it's
It was
gonna come
not like
back
an
at all,
actual renewal. It was just like they're developing 2 more seasons.
if it's gonna come back at all, we within the next 3 years.
I don't know.
If it comes back, what
I
will
don't think it won't be before 2026.
so let's say it comes back in 2027 with whatever fucking shows exist then. Is there gonna be like what will the response be? I guess that's the thing I don't you can't who knows. But
Well, I think like this is something we talked about when it moved to drama. Like it's just gonna be a completely different show.
so
And
Anna Sawai's not on it.
Anna Sawai is not gonna be on it. Tadanobu Asano is not gonna be on it.
Takahiro Hiro is not gonna be on it. Uh Cosmo could be on it, and Hiroyuki Sanada could be on it, I guess.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's like this a lot of the stuff you loved about Shogun season 1 is not going to be there in Shogun season 2, and I think that's like it's going to be I don't even know if we could say it's going to be a huge adjustment because it'll have been so long since the first season aired. You'll have forgotten what happened. So maybe
I
that's a good
definitely
thing.
think that. I guess the other question before we move on to limited series, unanswerable question maybe, or maybe not. I actually think I know the answer. If Moika Hoshi was nominated in supporting actress, do you think she would have beaten Elizabeth Debicki?
No. We talked about this last week. No.
Even with the tepid response to Elizabeth Debicki?
No, I don't think it was like a tepid response to her performance. I think they like her performance. I think it was just kind of like, yeah, we know she's winning, so like let's move on.
Okay.
It's not
I
that
think
they don't think she doesn't deserve the win.
I think you're right too, because like we were saying, uh like it didn't win. The acting style is just not what they didn't go to for Tatsunobu Asano, right? They went with, Billy. So there you go. Limited series choice. Last one. Baby Reindeer. That's it.
For most of them. You're gonna dine out on Steve Zalian for forever.
I'm not gonna dine out on it, but I'm fucking thrilled that he won. That was a great one. Went down with that ship. Could have just kept the other guys I had too, and it would have been great. Baby Reindeer winning was not a surprise at all, and neither was Jessica, and neither was Richard for writing. Richard Gadd, I said this before. I thought he looked surprised to have won acting, but it felt like it was obvious that he was going to win, even though I didn't want that. I tried to manifest the snub.
I
But
know,
it
I'm
wasn't
shocked
gonna
you didn't
work.
go back to Andrew Scott.
Well, watching actually the way the show played out, I wonder if actually John Hamm was in second after the Lamorne
Mm,
Morris win.
no, I don't. I mean, we'll get to that in a second, but I think Andrew was still in second.
Okay.
No, I mean, like Richard, I think he was just overwhelmed. I mean, even if like the outside world is expecting you to win, I think it's still weird to, I mean, like his whole life has completely turned upside down in the last 5 months, so
Uh, Another one where I'm like, he's back with an HBO show, I believe, right?
yeah, Lions, I think. Yeah.
Be very curious to see how the next thing is received. And
So when
obviously,
I talked to him in the end of May,
yeah,
and he like it was like the same thing, like he was like overwhelmed by the response because at that point I just been like, I don't know, like 6 weeks since the show came out. And but he was so excited to talk about because I asked about the new show and he was like I can't wait to just like hunker down and just write. Like I just want to write and like just kind of get away from all like the hoopla and everything. So
it's hard to imagine anything being more successful than Baby Reindeer, based on not just the Emmy wins, but the amount of people. It's one of the biggest hit shows in like the last year, certainly, right? Like it's certainly like a huge hit, wins all these Emmys. So I can't imagine the next show hitting those same levels, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets re-embraced by the Academy.
Well, it'll be a different show because it's not based on his life
Right.
or his
But that
one.
doesn't mean they won't. I mean, they're definitely going to, they'll certainly pay more attention to it, obviously, because it's going to be from the guy who won
Yes.
several Emmys for Baby Reindeer.
Yeah, it'll be all over the marketing, so.
Uh, I felt really watching it. This is funny. Like watching the show, I felt so confident that Steve Zalian was going to win. I don't know. I was just like, it just felt like watching it in real time, where I was like, oh man, like the fact that, or like if Issa Lopez would have won too, I actually would not have been surprised. I just think the fact that like Veronica had not directed the whole thing and was not nominated for directing the entire show. I think that really does matter. I don't know why, but I just think it does. It just looks different where you're like, Steve Zalian directed every episode of Ripley. Issa Lopez directed every episode of True Detective. Veronica, whatever, directed the fourth episode of Baby Reindeer. I was like, I don't think she's going to win. And she didn't. So there you go.
No, I don't think it's that because it's like Ryan Murphy won for one episode of
Yeah, but
Versace
he
over.
created the show.
Well, he didn't create the show.
You know what I
He's an
mean?
EP.
Yes.
He doesn't run any American Crime Story or Ass, our new favorite show
Love
either.
that.
He's an EP.
But it's like his branding. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
No, but like he was up against multiple people who directed the whole series. Like I don't think like they're not thinking of that. I think this is like I actually thought he was gonna win after Liza won, which is like I know it makes no sense because there's different branches, but like I was just like I think this is just kind of like a vibe where they are just gonna go with people that they know
yeah,
and have worked with or admired. And Veronica Tafilska, like, not incredibly well known, even though she directed the series winner. But I think maybe if like someone else had done Ripley, someone not as revered as Steve Zalian, like maybe she could have won. Um, so like I think maybe even if like Gus Van Sant had directed all of Ripley, like he would have won that, right? But because it's like we love him and like it's Gus Van Sant,
yeah,
but um so I think if maybe it's like a lesser known name directing, maybe she would have had a better shot. Um
maybe. And then the only other surprise in that category, and one of the biggest surprises of the night until Hacks, was Lamorne Morris winning Best Supporting Actor in a movie or limited series for Fargo.
that was amazing. That was gonna be my favorite one of the night until Hacks.
So we love Lamorne Morris, obviously.
That this is what I wanted. Remember, I was like, I want one of the other five non Jonathan Bailey, non RDJ people, preferably Lamorne Morris, and it happened.
I think we were talking about this when we were doing our uh talking about the campaigning in phase two. I think we mentioned how he was like really doing a great job.
Well, the day voting started, he posted that video of his daughter mocking him for crying when he got the call on the nomination. It was great.
And every Fargo phase two event was like Noah Hawley, Lamorne Morris, and Juno Temple. It felt like that was the trio, not John Hamm, not anybody else. It was like these are the people we want to focus on. And I really think that mattered. And especially again, like what you're saying, an actor who a lot of people have worked with. Like everybody likes this guy.
People are just Winston stans. They love New Girl.
They love New Girl. A lot of people worked on New Girl. I think he's worked with a lot of people. He's in Saturday Night playing Garrett Morris. There's 500 people in that movie. I was just like, I think that he's like got a high rating. Not that Robert Downey Jr. doesn't, and not that even Jonathan Bailey doesn't. But I think you couple that with the fact that he was like on Fargo in like a character who I think was really beloved for people who watch that season of Fargo and like the season of Fargo. It just makes sense.
Yeah, so I think, everyone was focused on Jonathan and RDJ, obviously, but I think ultimately their shows were just too weak. Obviously RDJ sole nominee for The Sympathizer and Fellow Travelers just the three noms. And like Jonathan was the people's choice, the internet's fave. Uh and I think like his stands were feeling really confident after The Sympathizer bombed and just got that one nom. And then we were talking about maybe that it'll be Tom Goodman-Hill as a coattail for Baby Reindeer, but I think it's also kind of going back to like people are not that familiar with him. And he's also not in the show a lot. Like he's in really just one episode and he has a 5-minute scene in the finale and like good performance, but I think like it was like I mentioned this last week, it was kind of weird how I don't know if it's weird, but it's like no one really talked about his performance like in any way, even when you're talking about episode 4, and it was a good performance, and then also the character is so vile and irredeemable because the show is told just from Donnie's perspective, which is fine, but like you don't really get the shading to his character that you might maybe if that character went on that type of show, like you just get more like a fuller picture of the character. And so he wasn't the series coattail. And then I think just if you look at the other nominees, Fargo, I think you can say for sure maybe it's not stronger than True Detective, but I think it's stronger than Lessons in Chemistry and Feud, Capote versus the Swans. I do love like all like the symmetry we have this year with 10 years ago, because this year Fargo and True Detective got their first acting wins with Lamorne and Jodie Foster 10 years after those shows first competed at the Emmys and were expected to win big in acting, and it didn't. And then also this is kind of like a similar upset to when Matt Bomer was predicted to win this category for The Normal Heart, and he lost to Martin Freeman for Sherlock, so which was a huge upset back then. So it's I just thought that was funny that True Detective and Fargo finally got their acting wins 10 years later.
That is funny. Yeah, and Jodie Foster then wins for True Detective. Another great win. First Emmy for Jodie Foster.
She's halfway to EGOT. Jamie Lee Curtis is probably thrilled for her.
She got a legit standing ovation. People love Jodie Foster.
Yeah, Jodie and Jean standing O's.
Legit. And then obviously Hiroyuki Sanada and Anna Sawai got standing ovations, it looked like.
They were like, were they more partial than full?
They were more partial. They were like Selena Gomez and Steve Martin, like, oh shit, I gotta get up again. Okay.
Yeah, because I think like Jean and Jodie were real.
Yeah.
Standing O's. Yeah.
Just we have a lot of emails. What do you want to do quickly about the show? What do you think before we get to emails?
The show, I enjoyed the show. I thought it was well produced, just like the one we just had in January. I enjoyed like all the nostalgia tributes, something they also adopted from the January show. Hilarious that they couldn't get Kyle Chandler to come, or even Craig T. Nelson for the coach segment.
You think somebody dropped out of that?
I think someone did, because it was only 2 and all the other groups had 3, so it was just really glaring. And I love all the themes that they played. I love Joshua Jackson just losing it, walking out to I Don't Want to Wait.
Talk to me about Dr. Loveboat. That looks great. What's it called? Dr. Odyssey or something?
Dr. Odyssey, a new Ryan joint.
Another Ryan Murphy show?
On BBC.
Don Johnson, Philippa Sue. Let's go. I'm in.
I mean, like, I don't even know.
Can we put it down for Emmys next year?
I mean, if you want to
Holy shit, that looked great. That looked great. And Caitlin Olsen in High Maintenance. What's it called?
It's not High Me. That's what we were talking about. Remember, like when you were reading that email, was it last week?
Yeah.
Or like, because they were talking about what if like Caitlin gets nominated, and I thought you were gonna say High Potential, but then you said It's Always Sunny, and I was I was waiting for High Potential. No, but this is what I was telling you, like it's just another show. It's another one of my favorite tropes in TV, like a normie who has like a skill and helps out cops.
Fantastic. 10 out of 10.
It's just like
looked great. I was like weighing on that show. I watched it. The ads worked. I was like, we gotta watch this shit. We gotta watch Dr. Loveboat. I'm in. How do you not
Um,
call it Dr. Love Boat?
it's well, they're so like with that, like they're keep like I Ryan just keeps a lot of his shows under wraps now.
Mm-hmm.
So especially like new things like that. So
I'm
like
excited.
there's like absolutely no screeners for that.
Can't wait
So
to watch it. I'll watch it with the people, Joyce.
um
Get my
but
bunny ears out.
but I loved when they played the ER theme
Great.
that going to a doctor's. I do kind of wish like I love Mekhi Phifer. I love Dr. Greg Pratt, but I kind of wish that they got one of the OG ER actors for that because Thursday, September 19th is the 30th anniversary of ER. So it'd been perfect. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
did the West Wing reunion for the 25th. So
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I thought Dan and Eugene were great. Uh, very funny hosts. I thought the people that had to come out, all the presenters were really good. Love seeing Billy Crystal. I thought his bit was funny, actually, with the hosts. I thought Jimmy was good talking about Bob Newhart. Yeah,
I kind of feel like they should have started the in memoriam with uh the Bob Newhart tribute and then gone into the performance and montage because I feel like it's I don't know I feel like you should just go to commercial break after that segment, you know, so let
probably.
everyone decompress. So because they did that in January because they had Norman Lear tribute and then it went into the Charlie Puth performance. So I yeah, it's just kind of weird to have like, you know, Jimmy Kimmel come out to talk do a tight five on Bob Newhart after that Jelly Roll performance.
That was part of, like, we talked about this a little bit. That was the part of the show where it just dragged to a halt. Because you had the John Leguizamo part into the TV Academy president, into Greg Berlanti, into the In Memoriam. That's a tough run.
I think they had one award in between those, but
Okay.
it was very long.
It felt endless.
Yeah.
All good, like the type of thing where it's like, you know what I love? I love ice cream. I could eat a lot of ice cream, but if you eat too much ice cream, it's not good, right? You're gonna feel like this is something I love, but I'm gonna be sick because
Well,
I had too much.
you get a brain freeze. Yeah.
And that felt like this, where I was like, man, the John Leguizamo thing, very good. A lot of good points being made.
I felt
TV
like that could
Academy
have been
president,
it could have been tighter, like use an edit.
or just like not been such a focal point. I don't know. I was just like, that's something that's great to hear. I understand, like, you got to do it if this is television's biggest night. You want to kind of do this in front of the Television Academy and like make sure we're doing this. I also thought it was like a weird. They were kind of doing a victory lap. Did you get the sense of this? That was a
Mhm.
little bit of a victory lap for how diverse the nominees were and everything. But to that point, and really the whole, I mean, to that point, it was like outside of Lamorne Morris and I guess Liza Colón-Zayas, every winner was white. And like,
Well,
while
until we got to Hero and Anna.
yes, but that was before Hero and Anna. So I was like, you're like celebrating this great diversity. I'm like, most of the people who have won are all the same white people who usually win. So it felt like I'm glad all these people were nominated, but they're not winning. But then at the
You
end,
know
obviously,
what? Then the nomination's what matters, okay?
okay, that's true. It's the nomination, not the. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a great show though overall, and I look forward to seeing. I don't know. They've really got a really good handle on how to do the Emmys now. I think I hope the Oscars takes the team that did this year's Oscars and does them next year because I actually think host aside, like it was a well produced show. And I'm like, you got to keep that consistency going because I think with the Emmys, you really saw that. It felt like a real continuation from what we saw in January. That really worked.
Mhm.
So, Joyce, you have so many emails. The
Are
emails
they
are
all about hacks?
exploding after hacks. Email us at slugfest@goldover.com. The chance you will not get an email in probably before we record the next episode because I guess you could if you're fast and up in the middle of the night. But yeah, email us at slugfest@goldover.com talking about the Emmys or whatever else. I'm going to start with Gabriel, who emailed us at 10:59, and then I'll read you another email he sent at 11:11.
I should have waited.
Hi, Jason Chris. I was originally going to ask whether you thought the Emmys could go back to the tape system with Shōgun the Bear and Baby Reindeer winning everything, but there ended up being several upsets. To quote you, Chris, I got absolutely annihilated in my picks. Steve Zalian is finally an Emmy winner. I abandoned him in my predictions at the last second, but I'm still hyped since he deserved it, and it's great that Ripley didn't get blanked above the line. Lamorne Morris becoming the first acting winner for Fargo is somewhat surprising. I guess the campaign really paid off. Do you think Liza Colón-Zayas will repeat next year? What if the enthusiasm for the Bear is so strong that it just wins again for season 3? I think it's certainly possible since I don't know what will dethrone it anyway. Thanks for reading. I can't wait your thoughts. That's for Gabriel. Now, 12 minutes later, emergency correction, all caps. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Ignore what I said in my last email because
Too late. We already read it.
Act 1 comedy series. Has there been a more shocking upset in the last 10 years? Those are from Gabriel. No, I don't think so.
I mean, like in terms of like the Emmys and what's one series?
Yeah.
No? I like what has surprised you in the last 10 years?
I don't know. I'm a Emmys comedy
In
wins.
comedy series, like the last like The Bear, no. Ted. No, Ted. Schitt's Creek, Fleabag. I guess some people I wasn't surprised. I predicted Fleabag. I was not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Maisel, no. Veep, 3 times. Modern Family, 5 times. Like drama series, we have Succession, The Crown, Handmaids, which was kind of surprising, but it wasn't like a shocker like this, you know.
Was Arrested Development a surprise?
No, not really,
Not really.
because it was the tape system.
Yep.
It's like it's just different on our tape system. Like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Homeland. Homeland was like a slight surprise because I think um like a lot of people expected Breaking Bad to win for season 4. And you got 4 Mad Men.
Nothing is surprising. There's no results at all. Even you go back to the Oscars. We were talking about this. Like uh, Oppenheimer, no. Everything Everywhere, no. Coda, no. Nomadland, no. Parasite, no. I'm gonna say no to that. I don't think that's an upset. I don't know what else would have won there. 1917, come on, be serious. Green Book, no. Shape of Water, no. Moonlight, yes, sort of. Moonlight more for the what happened around it because of the mistake.
Yeah.
Like
I
it was.
think it's like I guess it's like kind of similar because like La La Land was enduring backlash too, towards the end.
It
But
is similar.
yeah,
And Moonlight only won 2 other awards, and La La Land had won a
which were
ton.
also expected for Moonlight.
And La La Land had won a ton, and it was probably 50-50 going down to the end. What would actually win? I guess that's the last one. That was definitely surprising. The way it happened was a big shock, obviously. That, I guess, is the last time I felt this unbelievable about an award show.
Um, yeah. Oh, I guess to go way back to the 90s, NYPD Blue losing for its first season to Picket Fences.
That was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, like we just I don't know. And then Liza winning next year. I don't know.
I mean,
I feel like we might be saying something different had the Bear won comedy series.
I think if the let's look at this. If the Bear won comedy series, I would say Liza would be a very strong contender for next year because her episode was good.
Hmm.
And like it's obviously the show. But I think I would also think that Abby Elliott would probably get in and also had a great episode. And so I think there could be some vote splitting there in terms of like I don't think she's like a clear cut winner. Even if the Bear had won, I think I'd still be saying this. Now that the Bear lost, I'm not as sure. I don't know. But I think it wouldn't be like Ebon Moss-Backrack was like a clear winning this year, also winning last year. You know what I mean? Like
Do you think we would see something similar to what Ted Lasso endured last year, or I guess in January, where it didn't win anything above the line for season 3?
I
But it like I mean, we're also at this point presuming that there's not going to be a new show that breaks through like The Bear did with season one.
Frankly, looking at the list of shows, again, not complete, I don't see a lot of new shows. I
So it's
hope
like we're
that's wrong.
banking on like hacks basically again.
And Only Murders having a great season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, if I had to rank the chances of it winning like next year, I still think Jeremy is probably number one, even though I think he's ripe to actually lose. But I don't think there's a lot of strong contenders in that category right now.
FX should push English Teacher. That's an actual comedy.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess Eben, and then I'd put directing, and then like I just think Liza. I think Liza will have Abby there, and that would make a big difference. I think if Abby was there this year, she wouldn't have won. Liza.
Yeah, probably. Or then maybe Abby would have won.
Abby might have won.
Because
She
like
had,
JLC would have campaigned for her.
and she had the big episode. So
Yeah.
this one's from Jason. Emailed us at slugfest@goldherber.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's Jason. I know that you're probably receiving hundreds of these emails, but how on earth did Hacks beat the Bear when Hannah Einbinder couldn't even win supporting actress? I had literal chills when they called out Hacks because I mouthed the Bear because I thought that was what was going to win. This is insane. 3 question marks. Everything else was something that I predicted or expected. What are your thoughts? That's from Jason.
We will all remember the day that Hacks won comedy series on September 15th, 2024, and what we were doing.
Here's one from Kevin, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. How does Hacks upset the Bear and win 3 above the line Emmys and Hannah doesn't win? That's from Kevin. These are real. Can they do a recount?
I mean, it's
Hell.
branch voting for okay, so do you think if they did all Academy voting for all the categories, would Hannah have won? I don't think so.
No. Meryl would have won in that case.
How about Mara? I think people overestimate how much she's won.
I think
Stuff.
if you
Like she gets
opened it up
nominated. So.
to everybody, though, she would easily win. I know Meryl Streep.
I mean, like, I think there is like something that is not preventing, but just like stopping people from voting for Hannah. And then you could say like it's like napkins with Liza. But I mean, like Meryl hasn't won anything major since what, like the Iron Lady. So she gets the nominations. Sorry, she won Critics' Choice this year for Only Murders. Excuse me.
What if she wins Guest Actor for for Only Murders in season
Next year?
4? Yeah, she'll definitely be there for
She can definitely do that. It's easier to win in guest, so she can definitely do that. But yeah, like Hacks, we talked about this earlier. But
I went back and counted up. You were right. She's only in 2 of the ones they sent so far.
yeah, that's what I thought.
You were right. I missed
1 and 7. 1 and 7. Yeah.
And still 1 and 7.
So it could be 3.
So she could be in 3 and then
still be in guest. Yeah.
Everyone else I found is
they've crossed the threshold.
Jane, Molly, Davine. Yeah. One other person not supporting, it seems. I don't want to say who it is. I don't think that episode aired yet.
But yeah, I don't think we're up to that yet in real life.
But I have written down. Another email. This one's from Evo. Emailed us at slugfest@goldherber.com. Hi both. Hello both, it says. That's how we start. I am Evo, and I have not written you in a while. I was quite busy, but I kept watching you. On past occasions, I have praised Joyce much, but this time I wanted to praise Chris and his correct prediction of Ripley in directing. He was right. Being an auteur and directing all episodes is what matters in Limited. He also almost predicted Liza Colón-Zayas and Lamorne Morris. His logic about them was correct. Great job this year. I did not write this. This is a real email. It was an amazing ceremony, the best one since 2020. The Emmys that we love are back. I ranked 94 out of almost 3,000 people in our Gold Derby picks, which I'm happy in such a crazy year. One of my favorite wins was for Liza Colón-Zayas. I saw some hate for her in the forums for all the Hannah stands, which were ridiculous. Liza Colón-Zayas is able to evoke all possible human emotions with a single look, and her submission episode for season 2, in which she went to a karaoke bar with her young colleagues from the cooking school and sang Before the Next Teardrop Falls in Spanglish, was beautiful and worthy of its win on its own. I also predicted Billy Crudup. He is Julia Garner, and deservingly so. Yes, Matthew McFadden beat him one time, but Crudup also beat him once prior, so it still counts. Which is your favorite win? Goes to both, and why? I better go watch Little Horses now. It seems I am missing out. That's from Evo.
You're definitely missing out, and Slow Horses is coming next year. Jonathan Pryce will be in supporting actor because he's in every episode. So, um, uh, I wanted to pull off triple supporting next year. I don't know if I can make room for it with White Lotus. That's just a tease for tomorrow. But I mean, my favorite one is Hacks. Like, what else is there?
Can't anything else. What non-hacks?
What else is there?
Lamorne, I guess.
Non-Hacks, like I said before, it would have been Lamorne before Hacks. Because that was like the win that we deserved for, because even though like Liza won, it was like we knew that was a possibility, right? Like that was like I had her in too. I think a lot of people had Meryl in too after Only Murders won 3 Emmys last week. But I was like, I think Meryl's third. I didn't think she was second to Hannah. And yeah, like supporting actor limited, like like we were so focused on those two with Jonathan and RDJ that I was like, we need one of the other 5 to win. And they did. So
this is from our old pal David Joyce. Email slugfest@golder.com.
which
Hi, Joyce
one?
and Chris. It's #1 Slow Horses fan and believer, David L. First off, I'm so happy last week I called Beckham, Blue Eyed Samurai, and Jim Henson Idea Man winning when you both should have taken my advice. Chris, I thought you were a fan of the Muppets. I guess your rationale had one flaw, which was that documentary specials go to ones about comedians who have passed away. I disagree that the Jim Henson documentary didn't have any substance. It was the most informative and entertainment documentary of all the nominees. Someday maybe Chris and Joyce will learn to use their heads and find the rainbow connection. Thank God for the lovers and dreamers in me. I'm very proud the 3 of us stuck with Slow Horses for writing when no other editor Cold Derby listened. I got bad news for you, David. We abandoned ship, but that's fine. Oh, no, wait. You both switched and I didn't. Haha. Gold Derby is surrounded by losers and misfits. Chris and Joyce are hanging on by their fingernails. LOL. Chris, I still can't believe you actually thought Mr. and Mrs. Smith could win that when Slow Horses is the better show. I did think that. At the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is a very entertaining show with average writing that is uninspired. I disagree. My questions tonight are, have we seen a show upset series like Hacks, which had the lowest number of wins for a series winner? And if they released season 3 of The Bear after final voting closed, would it have still won? Also, is it possible for Slow Horses to win anything at the Golden Globes next year? Or are the days long gone from the Globes going with something different like they used to? And will they just keep playing catch up and rubber stamping Shōgun and Baby Reindeer? I'm very confident Steve Martin will win at the Globes next year, since he's got the best material in season 4 of Only Murders, and love for The Bear is now fading. But like you, Chris, I was on the side of liking season 3 minus the facts, which were annoying. Anyway, I can't wait to see your chaotic Emmy predictions for next year. Based on your ridiculously wrong Globe TV predictions so far, I'm guessing you're going to put popular stuff in like every category, like The Penguin and Perfect Couple. Let me give you a wake-up call and tell you that's not happening. Well, time to hit the hay. Good night until we meet again. That's from David.
I mean, bad news. I don't have that anywhere. So
I have Perfect Couple all over the place. I couldn't
I
find
don't have
limited
either
shows.
of them. So
Penguin's not very good. So I'm not going to have it.
It's just like they're not going to touch that or remember it.
I might have Colin Farrell because I can't find limited series. Actually, I don't even have him in. So I don't have it anywhere. But I do have Perfect Couple because I greatly enjoyed it and it was total trash.
It was the best.
And I have it twice. So I feel confident in those twice.
I don't remember the question because he just so much enjoys roasting us. Here's the thing. I don't like care about actually being wrong in on the
we've said
final
this.
count.
It doesn't matter.
Because I care about like my thought process and like I feel like I've explained myself enough. So I don't actually care if I'm like how many I actually get right or wrong.
In the midst of this, there was a good question. Will like a show like Slow Horses actually does it have a chance to win in the winter because of the 4th season coming here too?
Well, it's competing for the 4th season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for series or just like
or anything, I guess.
I think like Shōgun will probably still win series, and I mean like Jack should really go lead. He's not going. It's another Hannah situation. Like he's a co-lead, but they'll just keep running him and supporting. Yeah, I think he and Jonathan
One of
will
them could
probably be
win.
in supporting. Yeah, and like one of them could win.
I feel like watching tonight, I think any of these award shows, it's going to be hard for them to go against like Hiroyuki Sanada and Anna Sawai in any of these categories because they're going to want that moment on their own show. Not to sound like it's too corrupt, but I'm like, you want that speech. You don't need Gary
No,
Oldman.
but like it's also like Gary is not really in season 4 a lot. Not that it matters, but it's like it's not the season 4 storyline of Slow Horses is so much about River and David. And then like everyone else just helping with
Right.
the case. So I think like I think Gary will get in again, but I don't think he would win. I don't think the show would win. So yeah, I could win supporting actor maybe. Um so yeah.
This email's from Carrie. Hi, Joyce and Chris. The writers have always been the smartest branch, in my opinion. They were on Succession from day one. They've awarded Hacks twice now, and they saw fit to award Slow Horses as well. This is not to mention all the other times they were right. Friday Night Lights, anyone? Why is everyone else so behind the curve and are blinded by what's super shiny?
Because I think like shows don't exist without writers.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of this exists without writers. So I think maybe they just pay more attention and like they actually have to write the material, you know?
I think too, the other branches, like acting is its own thing,
Yeah.
and they're gonna it's popularity contest mixed with like somebody they
Like
like.
friends and yeah.
And directing, I think, is usually just like also slightly, more down the middle. And the writers, and then the series, like we said, the program ones is everybody voting. You're gonna have like the most broad consensus. The writers are able then to like just actually pick the best stuff.
Yeah, and we've seen under the system that the directors have generally been rubber stamping the series winners.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there is a triple vote split and then it goes to the series runner up.
Right.
But we've seen, I mean, like the last two ceremonies, we've seen that be proven wrong because Succession won over a triple vote split last time. And then now, Baby Reindeer did not win directing when it won series, and it wasn't a triple vote split situation. So maybe they're getting more of a mind of their own. I don't know.
Maybe. Judgmental TV fan came through.
Great.
Watch the Emmys like us. Hi, Joyce and Chris. How many times are we going to let the actors award Emmys for episodes that aren't eligible? Liza is good on The Bear, but she just won for a season 3 spotlight, which was an unnecessary which was an unnecessary flashback detour, if you ask me, instead of her performance in season 2. Eben actually won for his performance in Forks last year when he was eligible for season 1, so he basically won twice for that episode now. And this isn't just a problem with The Bear; it happened with Brett Goldstein and Ted Lasso too. I'm simply begging Emmy voters not to be so obviously tricked by this strategy. It's from Judgmental TV fan.
Are they just calling actors dumb?
I would say I think the fix for this is the calendar, but you don't want to talk. We don't want to go in there.
No, I think no, it's more that like the networks are being strategic, which is their right.
Yeah, but if it was
Yeah.
if you weren't, they're being strategic because they can be because of the calendar.
Yeah.
If you made it like a year instead of like May to September to May or whatever, it'd be
But okay, like let's say the calendar is January 1st to December 31st.
right.
So and then what when will the Emmys be? The
That's the
ceremony.
problem.
Like
Yeah.
in what, like let's say like
No,
February
you're right.
24th or whatever.
We
So
don't
then
want it in there.
you have to vote. So like
Yeah.
like the Bear could still drop the new season in January, right?
True.
Like during voting. So it
True.
doesn't really matter when because like there's still gonna be that period where they have to vote, unless they're voting before the calendar year
And
is over, but then they could still drop the season in like December before December 31st, so
we want Emmys in September.
yes.
What if you were not eligible to win after you win one year?
There like over the years, a lot of people have suggested that, especially during Julie Louis-Dreyfus's Six Feet. Because people are tired of her winning. It's funny how like the conversation changes because like when it was happening, people are so tired of it and they wanted her to
Not
withdraw her
yes.
name, like Candice Bergen did. Uh and then, like a couple weeks ago, I don't know if it's like maybe it's just like youths who are just discovering Veep now, and they weren't around when it was winning all these Emmys or she was winning all these Emmys, but it was like, I saw a lot of tweets being like she should have won all like 7, like she was locked in.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're 7 years removed from her last win, and it's like now everyone is saying that like she should have actually won all 7 for all 7 seasons. So I think like when you're in the moment, you are sick of it, and then you have more appreciation of what that person did with more distance. So no, I don't think you should cap wins. I think if they want to vote for them, they want to vote for these people, and I think that actually is telling of what these people were feeling at a time. You can also say how lazy they were at the time. Like obviously she blocked a lot of people from winning Emmys, like Amy Poehler, so much so that she had to share an Emmy with Tina Fey later. But no, I don't think like wins should be capped.
No, it's like how Patrick Mahomes has single-handedly wrecked like 4 different franchises. Like Lamar Jackson's never winning a Super Bowl. Josh Allen's never winning a Super Bowl. Like
It's like
you
all the
lost
tennis
it.
players who didn't win a Grand Slam
Yeah.
during the Big Three era.
49ers never
You're
winning.
born at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You're just playing the wrong.
None of them are winning. They're all losing to Patrick Mahomes. Joe
Yeah, but
Burrow.
so like I don't know, like there's nothing you can do to stop people from voting for a season of a show for which the nominee is not eligible for. You just kind of have to hope they don't.
Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. This one's from Chris. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Since it will probably take another 5 years for the next season of Shōgun, do you think Slow Horses might actually have a shot at winning either acting award or maybe even drama series next year? It's clear voters like it a lot based on the nominations it snagged this year, plus Will Smith's writing win. That's from Chris.
I don't, I mean, series next year might be hard with so many shows coming back, some of their old faves. So, but I mean, maybe it could be like sort of like Succession and just keep winning writing until it's over.
Could it win actor?
Yeah, it can win an acting award. It's like just what I said before. I don't know about Gary because he's not really in season 4 a lot, but season 4 great for Jack and Jonathan.
Yeah.
So,
how many White Lotus guys do you have for supporting actor?
I don't know. Is it 4?
I have 2.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Wrong. This one's from Hank. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Why did True Detective and Fargo win acting Emmys now? I realize part of the answer is that Jodie Foster is Jodie Foster, but it does seem like a wild stat that both shows just now won their first Emmys for acting after 10 years after debuting.
I kind of love it.
It's great.
I think it's all like the competition too.
I think if there was anybody else in that limited series movie supporting actor category, Lamorne would not have won. I think he was the perfect conditions for him to have won.
Yeah, it was just perfect conditions for him to win. And you know what? True Detective would probably already have an acting winner had it not moved to drama 10 years ago. It would have won Unlimited for Matthew McConaughey. So, and Benedict Cumberbatch would not have won for Sherlock.
Last one here because it's late. This one's from Jackson. Hi, Joyce and Chris. How do you have Walton Goggins in the audience and not have him on stage for the cop bit? Shane Vendrell was a dirty cop, yeah, but you got a star of the Shield and you're not going to bring him up for that? I realize he might have declined to appear, but he also loves to talk about the Shield, so I don't know. That's from Jackson.
Also a mistake since it was such a big night for FX. And FX part of the ABC Disney family. Too. Maybe they were scared that he would have rambled too much because he's a talker. I love Walton, but he talks. He would have like gone off script.
More so than Niecy Nash Betts.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the two of them together.
Mm.
I don't know.
Last one. Oh no, I lost it. Hang on. Here it is. Last one. This is from a woman in her very late mid-30s, Joyce.
Wow.
Hi, Joyce and Chris. What was your favorite moment of the night? Could be a win, could be something else. I personally love Joshua Jackson's reaction to I Don't Want to Wait playing as he walked on stage to present Greg Berlanti his award.
Did I write this?
No, are you a woman in her very late mid-30s?
Well, yeah.
I guess so. Did you write this? No, I don't think so. It's not your email address.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I already mentioned that. That was a great moment. He was just laughing his ass off. I don't know. I mean, you can't top hacks, but if it's not hacks.
Yeah, what about like a non-win thing, like a show thing?
A non-win thing. I mean, I love that. Joshua Jackson and I Don't Want to Wait. I love like the ER theme going to break. I love like all the themes that they were playing. It was hilarious when they played the True Blood theme after Gene Smart won. That was great.
Really
Great
good.
segue. And I don't know. There weren't like a lot of like Eugene and Dan didn't really do a lot of bits.
The bit when they were in the audience I thought was really funny. There was another bit when he was talking to Eugene about missing out on what was the movie or show?
Oh, what did Eugene missed out? Oh, Eugene missed out on The West Wing.
That was it.
Richard asked him how like Ripley
howling. I howled laughing at that. He's like, I'm still waiting for a call back. That was really fun. That was a really funny joke. Good for them. And I really like seeing. I didn't even like Schitt's Creek that much, and I really like seeing them all together at the end. I was touched by that. It made me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Schitt's Creek fan either, but like they're all great together. It's a good show. I'm just not a diehard stan.
Yeah.
Like a lot
really
of people.
good.
Well, yeah, I like that Annie Murphy pop by. That was good.
Great.
It would have been bad. It was just the three of them, like with Catherine without her. Since she was
Future 9 Perfect Strangers star, whatever it's called.
Remember what was her the Kevin show that she was on?
Kevin Can Fuck Himself?
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, I think.
It was on AMC.
Joyce, that's it. We're done with the 2024 Emmys. So we're going to post this now and be back tomorrow morning to record, which we'll post on Tuesday, I guess. Our 2025 Emmys predictions.
How many more places are you going to add hacks in?
I don't have a lot of places to add it because I already had in a lot of spots, but I will probably add it in a couple of other spots as well.
You could add Carl Clemens Hopkins.
I don't want to add him because he's not really in it that much.
Well, you don't know about season 4.
I guess it's true.
Marcus quits.
I'm running out of space to add him.
Because you have like, what, 3 Only Murders people?
I don't know what to do. Well, no. Well, first of all, we only have 6 acts supporting in comedy.
Yeah, because it's 6 this year.
But I have 8.
We can have like we will have like a 7 if it's gonna go back to 7.
I have up to 8. I could do 8, but I have plenty of people, and I'm just trying to figure out how I want to add them in. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough, and you're gonna tell me what shows exist, and I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have added that, which is gonna be fun. All right, talk then. Email at slugfest@goldderby.com if you watch this before 10 hours from now. Okay.